So team, welcome back to the day two. Sincere apologies for the delayed start for the people who are attending the live webinar, but for the people who are watching the videos, it doesn't matter. So that's at your luxury. So now, thank you all for joining back. Day two, we're gonna continue with what we started on day one, and then look at what's gonna come up in the agenda, right? So what we've started to do primarily is very simple. We've started to look at one application. What application was that, team? Very important. We started to look at YouTube. So what we did is we thought, let's take, hey, YouTube as a good application, not just to play around, but to something that we will use as an application in our process of learning Selenium as well. All right. Team, is my audio okay for everyone? Anyone who's having an issue, please check at your end, because there are close to 100 participants in this right now, and I think predominantly everyone is able to hear okay. If you have an issue with the audio, please check at your end if you're okay. If you've dialed in through a telephone, that could be an issue, or just check your speakers, please. Worst case, close the session and join that session again. That's the best thing for you to do. Okay. So meanwhile, I'll just continue with what it is. So we said that, hey, we will take YouTube as an application that will help us, number one, master Selenium, right, as a test automation tool, and learn as to how we can do automation testing, right? So what is automation testing? Theoretically, we will come to it later. But the focus right now is to play around, to get that real fundamental concept nailed in, right? But at the same time, we have a specific agenda to cover, the plan or the direction in which we're going to go to, right? Now for that, what I did is I started to create a simple text as to what is the plan. So day one was just an intro, right? Intro and overall intro. I think that's fine. Intro to the application under test, Selenium, IDE a little bit we did, and I think that's about it, nothing more. Now what we want to do today is this. Now, will I actually be able to cover all of this in one session? No, but I am assuming, team, that each of you have gone through those 3 basic videos that I've asked you to do. Why? Because if you did that, most part of what you see here is taken care through that process. All right. If you haven't done that, then here is a quick session for you to go about doing it. Okay. So the simplest thing for you to do is go back to my channel on YouTube, youtube.com/qtpelearn. Once you're on this channel, you could look at my videos section. All right. And then if you try and arrange the videos from most popular, so you'll see there's the first video. Here is the first video for Selenium. Do you see this with 80,000 views? So Selenium tutorial 1, then similarly you'll see another one if you go next, Selenium tutorial 2 and Selenium tutorial 3. So this is 3 sets of videos that you need to complete. The other definite thing that you need to do is when you go to seleniumelearn.com, you'll see something called as free videos. So when you subscribe to this, you will get a lot of videos with it. Okay. Not only these day 1, day 2, day 3 links, but also you're going to get the introduction to basic JUnit and so on. Okay, that's a very important set of free videos to watch. In fact, if you go back to youtube.com/qtpelearn, you'll find all of them there. Now, why am I telling you this? There is a fast process of learning, team, and there is the gradual process of learning, right? So what we're doing in this live is not everything. We're trying to focus on the main concept so that in about 15 to 20 live sessions, you get a holistic grip of this tool. But you have to practice a lot. You have to do a lot of exercise, and you have to use the groups and so on. There are many more things that are needed. Now, videos, I was talking most popular, right? So there is the one more video where there was a JUnit thing, Selenium IDE tutorial. Okay, there you go. I think this is the one. JUnit tutorial for beginners, right? Now, this is good for people who are doing it now, but I'm sure for all the people who have subscribed, you have this access. So the easiest thing to do is forget about all this. One second, please. Sorry, I know this is repeating, but this is very important. So that's the reason I keep going back to this. So once you get access to screencast for all the confirmed participants, you will get all these details as part of welcome pack. Your welcome pack will contain how to install Eclipse, how to start working with IDE, how to start using Java, JUnit, and so on. All those installation documents and this access to the videos. Okay. So Selenium recorded. Here are the IDE basic videos. You can watch these first 4 videos. Plus, I want you to watch this. How do we start with Eclipse? Okay. What are the JUnit basics? And then JUnit basics with the remote control. So these IDE 01 series and 02 series are very important for you to be able to move forward. Okay. Do not miss this. Now, day 3 will not be this week. Day 3 will be later next week. We will start on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday till Thursday we're going to go. Then we have the long weekend. So 31st and 3rd are bad days for us to continue the session. Then we're going to start with 4, 5, 6 and 7. And hopefully by 4, 5, 6, 7, by the 14th or worst case the 21st of September. I would rather say 21st of September, which is 30 days from now. We should be able to complete this entire live training. Now, there will maybe further break this in between or some gaps to help you practice and so on. Okay. If you're watching videos, just go with the flow. As I'm telling you, you can stop this day 2 video right now, go back, watch those videos and come back. Okay. Now, what I want to do today, I'm going to mention, and then later everything else. So I was trying to write at the end of the last day, I want you to become an IDE expert. I want you to become an XPath expert. There's nothing about an IDE expert. It is very simple. All my free tutorials that are there on YouTube will automatically make you an IDE expert. Yes, I want you to become an XPath expert because that will give you a lot of control on a few other things I'm going to talk about today about XPath. Okay, but most importantly, I want you to know what is RC and WebDriver. What are these things with the Selenium thing? Okay, RC WebDriver. And I want you to get a good feel about what is the grid concept within Selenium. Okay. Then the programming aspects of Java, JUnit, TestNG. Okay. Then there are other peripheral things like a few of the Apache POI concepts, the ANT tool, the TestNG parallel runner, and so on. All the new topics that I've been talking about like SVN, Flash testing, Maven, a little bit of Hudson. Oops. Okay, these are the things. Plus, you will have to be able to be in a position, more importantly, to do something called as frameworks. Okay, this is the crux of the whole training team. Okay, why are frameworks so important? Now, I know a lot of people who conduct training. Okay, the trainings in terms of what we are imparting is, and I respect everyone who's doing this thing. There's no question about it. But what you need is what the job market requires. Now, what typically happens is a lot of people start with an IDE, a little bit of XPath, little bit of RC, and then Java, and then done. Okay. Now, the most important aspect of any practical job expertise comes with frameworks, and that is what we will focus extensively on. For example, if you go back to screencast, you will see that right from the 04 series where you start to understand how do we read and write from Excel, the data-driven framework starts. One project on data-driven framework, then second project, then a detailed keyword-driven session, which is about 5 hours each, 5-6 hours each, another keyword-driven session with WebDriver, and then multiple hybrid framework. Okay, so if you're someone who's wanting to go deep, this one folder is an end-to-end repository of everything that you need, plus a few more sessions that we're going to do here. Okay, now, so today I want to write a few more test cases. We've started to use this sheet. We're going to do a little bit more progress on this sheet. We will define something called as a test data, and I'll talk about that. We'll talk about what is this pass-fail scenarios of test cases, because very important for you to know. And then we will see if we have enough time to get into the command target value, XPath, and if we can start to do an introduction to Eclipse plus JUnit plus Java. Okay, how does it all work? Okay, so team, you are here to master the tool. Okay, so there are two ways to master. One is we can take a, so there are so many things to master. Let's say that each of these dots are the things that you need to learn. Okay, you can master one, then master the other, and then master the other, and go about. But this will take you at least 3 to 6 months for Selenium. Okay, what I want to do is give you a great quick overview of everything in 1 month, and then you have a good knowledge about all what is there. Then you go about deepening it for the next 2-3 months. Okay, so that's what will really make you master. That's what will keep you very interested with it. Okay, now so this is what we want to do. So let's go about doing it, please. Are there if any questions regarding the training, please send an email to learn@itelearn.com, and we'll take it forward from there. Okay, so what we did primarily was we went to YouTube and we started to record a few things in day one, right? So we talked about Selenium IDE, right? We talked about the how we go about recording a few things with this red button clicked in and so on, correct? And then we saved them in a specific folder. Where did we save them? You see here, this is one and this is the other. Now, you should play around this tool. It is such an interesting tool to just spend time and play around for a long time. It's so good to be just doing this, even if you're an automation test engineer or not. And that's the fancy part of this tool. Now, if I double click this, what comes up? Do you see this? This is the HTML code. This is it. The Selenium tool needs only this set of information and the URL where it has to execute to do everything that it needs to execute a test case. Which is this test case associated with? If you see this, we have this associated with our search functionality. See, the steps match. See, first is go to youtube.com, and that's what this open does. It goes to a specific URL. Okay, then it goes enter a search term Selenium, and that is what the type does. Okay, enter search term. In this case, we change it to QTP. And then we have click the search button or image. Then we have click and wait. Okay, verify that the test results show. Okay, so here is how it is stored in your system when you record a test in IDE and save it as a test case. Okay, that is the HTML format. Okay, when we go later in today's session and I say that, hey, you know what, under the options I'm going to change the format instead of HTML to Java WebDriver or Java TestNG remote control, these sets of code, it will convert it into a different format. We are in that HTML format. Okay, now let's open that. How do I open that? File, open, and we're going to go to the folder Selenium A16, and here are those two HTML files. Okay, what is this? I'll just tell you right now. What is the sign in bad? Oh, okay, that was the sign in where we entered a bad email, right? So that's fine. Why are we not doing sign in good? Not yet. We will come to it. Okay, now, so was this the one? Great. So let's see if it works. Just click on play and see what happens. See, YouTube loaded, then everything done. But what happened here? So can anyone be able to point with the chat what happened? This is where we have to use our logic. This is where we have to get very smart about using a tool. Okay. Now, if you see, every step got executed. What it means that the test expected to do something, it did that. But here in the red, it said that it basically failed to do it. Why? What happened? If you double click on it, or if you go to the log section, it will show you. It was executing one step, nothing happened. Nothing wrong happened. It was executing this, and so on. Now it was verifying for a text to be there, and the text it was expecting is this. Right? Why is it not seeing that? So if you remember what we did earlier, okay, it will show you exactly that. Now, here is where you should come to the basic concept of how an automation tool works. An automation tool works by doing a very simple thing, those two W's, okay? What it wants to do, where it wants to do. That's it. It's all about what and where. Okay. Now, what do I mean by these two W's? If I want to give instructions for something, someone who's external to myself, out of my memory or my brain into something else. It could be a friend, a different human, a pet animal, a robot, or even the script is about giving instructions. And when we give instructions, we say what you want someone to do or something to do and where you want that to be performed. Okay. So these are the two most important things, Steve. Okay. Now that is what an IDE shows you with a command and a target. Okay. Command basically is the what portion of it. Okay. What do you want an IDE or what do you want that step to do? Like open, a type, a click and wait, a verify text present. If you look at it from our English perspective, grammar side, it is a verb. It is a specific action that you want to perform. Okay. But you want to type. Type where? Where do you want to type something? Do you want to type in this field? Are there more fields? Can I type somewhere here or in the page anywhere? Right? So that is the target. Okay. You want to perform an action, but where you want to perform that action, that becomes the target. Okay. That is your where part. And now I'm testing my own English vocabulary skills or the grammar skills. So this will be what verb? Is it an adverb or it's an adjective? It is a place or whatever. You're getting the point, right? So this is the where part. Okay, where is a place? So it's an adjective, right? Yeah. So you want it to be done specific areas. So that is command is what you want to do. Target is where you want to do. Now what is this value? Value is sometimes you have to provide additional set of information. Okay, like you want to type QTP, but where you want to type here, what you want to type, what you want to do, type, right? So what you want to type, where you want to type, but also what value you want to put into it. That is QTP. So when we look at drop down list, you will see a few more values coming in there. Okay. So as you go around playing with different fields, you will start seeing the commands changing, the targets changing, and the values changing. All right. Now, why did I explain all this to you? Because that is your fundamental, that is your foundation. If you do not understand this concept, do not move forward. This is the first checkpoint for us. Okay. Now, how do we master this? There is a command portion, there is a target, and there is a value. Correct? Now, command is a set of limited things, predefined. It's not infinite. What do I mean by it's not infinite? If I go here, I can actually see what are the different commands that one could perform. Okay, you will see there are not, there are not a dozen. There are about 50 to 100. Do I personally myself know each one of them? No. And I don't need to be knowing everything in this. However, there are two ways to learn. One is as you go about, you'll start seeing each of them. So see, for example, you see click. Now, if I go here, click, oops, let me not do this. Let me not change. No. Okay, click and wait, right? So if I, okay, now, so these are the 4 steps that we did. Now I want to, let's say, save this test case. Okay, now save test case as yt underscore search, and I'll say this is _2. What do I mean? I'm saving this test case as a different one. So I'm going to verify text present. That is one. But after that, I will, let's say, record one more step. Okay. The recording of that step is basically that, let's say we want to click on movies section out here. Okay. We want to click here. So 2 ways. One is I can get to a record and I can go to movies. Now what happened is as I performed that step, you would see IDE generated a new step. Do I always have to do that myself? No. As I get smart, understanding what is happening, I can start doing it on my own, and that is what I want you to start doing, team. Okay, I want you to start experimenting to type around. How? For example, I click and wait movies. Now let's say I want to click and wait on upload. Now what is this click and wait? That is my command. That is what I want to do. Do I also want to click on upload? Yes. Now what I understand very simple click means to click on something. But what is this click and wait? And there's something called click at, and there's something called click at and wait. So these are the different options within the click method that we want to perform. Okay, and as you say, for example, I just want to click, you will see that the reference guide within built-in ID shows you exactly what it does. Clicks on a link, a button, a checkbox, or a radio button. Okay, if the click action causes a new page to load, like a link usually does, call wait for page to load. Okay, so it's saying if I click on this, it's going to take a few seconds for it to go to the next one, right? Then we have to wait. So what it says is yes, it is going to take some time for this. Then it's saying you insert a new command here and call it as wait for page to load. See, as you start typing a command, you will start seeing that appearing. It is in the drop down list. You can either start to type and you'll see those specific ones which start with those alphabets, and you can pick that. You wait for page to load. Now, is this good enough for me just to put, say, click? Hey, but click is fine, but where should I click, right? For example, this is link equals movies. Do I now know what I need to click for this? I'm assuming, being a little smart person, that it may be, it's a link. What about if I say link equals upload? Do you think it may work? Not sure, but that's the beauty. Now we're going to try. We're going to try and see if it is going to work or not. All right. So I said click and wait link movies, and then click link upload. Now, what Selenium did is basically, hey, why should I have two commands, one to click and the other for the page to load? Instead, we will do something called as a click and wait. For example, I select this. This is the command. Now what is the reference? Clicks on a link, button, checkbox, a radio button, almost similar to what we saw for a click command. If the click action causes a new page, why does it say this? Okay, so it has the same exact definition. What does it mean? That it is an error within IDE itself. So the creators of IDE, which is an open source tool, they need to correct that. Right? Why? Because click and wait is basically trying to combine those commands together. Whenever we click on a web page, you typically see that something may be loading, depending on the speed of the application, what it is loading, and so on. It may take some time. So click and wait is actually combining these two things together. Okay, that's about it. The reason I'm saying is, how do you go about investigating different commands? How you go about giving targets and so on. Right? So team, quick check right now. Can everyone hear me okay? That's the first thing that I would ask, because when there are hundreds of participants, each of you come with different configurations, backgrounds, and so on. So it takes a little time for you to get adjusted. So typically, I see a lot of people day one, day two, where is that link to join? Hey, you didn't send me today's link. I can't listen. So a few things, but these are the standard things that we'll go through. Okay. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is I want you to go about researching on this command. Command is what did I talk about command? Is it the where portion or the what portion? It is the what. What does one need to perform? Okay. Target is about the where part, and target is where we're talking about, hey, let's do link equals movie or ID equals. So the different ones, how do we go about? And that is what is called as an X path. Okay. I want you to become experts at X path. There's no question about it. Can I get a better writing pad? Hold on, please. Not bad. Okay. I want you to become experts at XPath. What is this XPath? XPath is a very simple way for Selenium, okay, to identify the where part on the application. Okay. So for example, I'm saying, hey, click on this button or click on the link, enter text here, search for text, verify if that text is there. So many such things, right? The XPath is a kind of a identifier. Okay, it is like a locator. It actually provides information for Selenium to search in a specific place. But how does Selenium do that? Selenium does that using something called as by looking at the source code of the application. Okay, now this is very important. Please remember this. If I right click on the application and I go to something called as a view page source, what you see is the HTML code, the hypertext markup language, okay, which is what is used to build this application. Now, should you be an expert at HTML? No. But everyone who's working in the IT industry should know a few basic concepts on HTML. And to do that, what I want you to do, team, is go to the standard age-old tutorials that has been there forever called w3schools.com and learn HTML out here with simple tutorials. It's a good thing to do, okay? It's a very good thing to do, to get a basic idea. That's it. Now, you will see that everything that you see in a HTML thing has something called as this HTML tags. It has a less than symbol, then something information about it, some other text, and it will end with another greater than symbol. Okay. See, this is a tag. This is a tag called title. This is a tag called HTML start, and so on. Now, you need to get a basic idea on this. Okay. We're going to go ahead and we're going to experiment a few more things with HTML and XPath right now, but I want you to get a basic idea. Okay, team, what I'm explaining to you right now in a shorter session has been expanded to a much larger extent in those videos. Okay, but this is a good quick start for you right now. Now, so what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that XPath is very critical. Why? Command, I just showed you how we go about doing it, right? But target is a little more tricky. Here it was easy, but hey, we've done something. Let's go and first experiment and see if it's working. Now, why did the QTP thing fail? The QTP thing failed because I was expecting to see this text, right? But I saw this text, and that is the reason. So now I will go and edit that step itself. Now do I find it? Can you see it? So this command called find here is an inbuilt feature within this IDE which helps us identify if it is able to find it with this. For example, if I go to this step, okay, if I go to this step and say, hey, this is some way of recognizing this element, then I'm going to say find. It is going to actually highlight that element. So for example, if I click on this and say find, it will highlight that specific element for it, okay. So link equals movies, it will try and find that. Now, that is what you got to be looking at it. Okay, how does Selenium look at this? It takes the identifier, then it goes and performs that. Now, when I put this, why is it not finding this? Why is it saying locator not found about blah blah blah? Now, if you look closely, there seems to be some spaces out here. Now, was I aware of this earlier? No, but I'm just using my simple inquisitiveness to see, hey, is that the reason? Because earlier I didn't see spaces. Now if I say find, it still doesn't find. Oops. Why am I not able to click away from this? Let's go to youtube.com. Okay, type in QTP. Now I see the same amount of results. Now I'm going to say find. See, it still doesn't find. Now, and I think this is the thing about this. And I'm not an expert on IDE team. I'm not ashamed about telling that. Why? Because IDE is a great starting point, but we don't stay there too long. We have to get very quickly into programming. But the reason is verified text present. If I look at the reference for it, it is doing a certain thing. It is verifying that the specified text pattern appears somewhere on the rendered page. Okay, it is not about where it is appearing. Is this appearing anywhere in the application? Ideally, this was supposed to be in value column. If you look at it, it is not searching for the where part. But verified text present, which is the internal command within Selenium, it is taking it in the target itself, right? Because this seems to be more like a value. You're looking for a specific text where anywhere in the application. Now, if I'm not able to do a find, but let's try and run this test case and see what happens. It starts with YouTube. It goes to QTP. Now it is verifying for the text element not found. Now, what has happened? Did it fail to read that about 5110 results? Did it fail to do that, team? Did this step fail? No. Now, when you see that something is happening, don't jump. Oh my God, things have gone wrong. Now let me stop trying to learn this tool. I cannot go further. This is where you have to be a little smart, be very patient, go in a very systematic manner. What happened? It failed. The test failed, right? We ran the test and it failed. Why did it fail? Error, element not found. Okay. Does it mean that that element about 5110 results was not there? No. Where is it showing? Now go and see. This is actually showing green. If you go to log and now look at, it will say that about verified text present executing, that worked fine. But click and wait, here is where it failed. And why did it fail? Because this command requires a specific target. Where do you want to click? Unless we specifically say that I want to click here, it will not do it, right? So now what did we do? We have created a new test case. What is the test case? Search and then click button. So I'm going to copy this in the Excel. Okay, put it here. I'm going to give it a new name called test case 3. Why did I copy this? Because it's the same thing. The first 4 steps at least are exactly the same thing. Now I'm going to create 2 more steps and I'll say this is search 2. Still playing around, but see how eventually we'll get to something we do so realistically at work. Now I'll say click link movies. That was the first one. Then I'm going to use again another one, click link and say upload, right? And this is what we're trying to test each time. Now we have created a new test case altogether, or a scenario that we want to test. Okay, so this is command, this is target, and this is how you run. Now what about XPath? Okay, very quick 5 minutes tutorial on XPath. Okay, team, very simple. XPath is a formula. Okay, what is a formula? It is like making, I'm not good at cooking, so I have to give some other. So for example, you go to a gas station to fill up fuel, right? You do not go pick the fuel pump, the nozzle. You don't put it into your car and start pumping, right? Why? You have to follow a specific way. What is that? You go there, you first put your credit card, pull it out, then you key in your PIN code or zip code, get a confirmation, select the fuel you want, then you lift the nozzle, then you put it into the car, you pump it. So that is the step to it, correct? To do an XPath, there is a similar thing, okay? The first thing an XPath always starts with is 2 forward slashes, okay? Once I do this 2 slashes, okay, you have the second component, and that second component is called as a HTML tag, okay? Then there is a third component, and the third component is called as an attribute. And there's a fourth component, and the fourth component is called as a value, okay? This is the basic construction of an XPath. Just remember this, okay? There's always 2 forward slashes. That is the first thing. Then there is a HTML tag. That is the second component. There is a attribute, third component. And then finally, fourth component is the attribute value. Now, what is each of them? Let's go experiment, okay? So let me take a new Word document. So that I can increase the font at which I can write, and it will be easy for you to look at. Now, so the way we're going to do it is very simple. We will start with the application. We will identify something, take that and put it into find and see. Okay. So for example, if I was in this page right now, okay. Now I was talking click and wait. So here I'm going to say, let's delete this step. For easy purpose, I'm going to say record, okay. I'm going to go back to email and I'll start to write test1. Now what do I get? Type ID equals email test1, right? So this step has come when I did a record. Now we will write an XPath for this. How do we do it? Okay, what is the first thing? 2 forward slashes, done. The second thing we need to do is the HTML tag for this field. This is the where part. This is what I need, team. That is clear for us, right? So this is what I need. Now to get this HTML tag, the attribute value and everything, I need to look at the HTML code for that. How do I look at the HTML code? One way is right click and say view page source and go through everything and see where is this, how do I search for this. Sorry, 1 second, team, a little background noise. search for that specific field in the entire code, and then be able to identify. The other easier way is something called as a Firebug, and that is what Firebug does. Okay, Firebug gives you the ability to be able to quickly go in and look at the code in where you want to look at. How do you get Firebug? Very simple. Go do Firebug. Search in Google. Look at this getfirebug.com. Okay, do it. It's a Firefox tool. It's a Firefox plugin or an add-on. Okay, so once you go here, then you click on install Firebug and it will automatically get installed. Now, how will you see it? You will see it as this bug icon out here on your system, or you can also see it, I believe, on web developer. There you go. Okay, so what does this Firebug do? Let's go back to the page where we were, and here if I click on Firebug, what it will do is it will open up this portion of the window frame at the bottom, and it will show you the HTML code for the application. Now, team, just a side note, is this the only way to identify the where part, or what we call as elements, okay, or to find the target on an application? No, XPath is not the only way. There is CSS, there is a direct using attributes like ID, name, and so on, or we can use the path of it relative to everything else. But XPath is the most important thing that you need to know. Okay, if you know that 75–80% of your things are easy, anything else you can do a quick add-on to it. Okay, now how do we do it? You right click on the where, that specific element. What are we trying to do? We're trying to create the XPath. How? By looking at HTML code. How do I know where to look at in the HTML code? Use Firebug. How? Right click on the element and go and say inspect element with Firebug. Okay, so I don't even need this specific thing out here. I can go right click. As soon as you see on a Firefox browser, you'll see inspect element with Firebug after you have installed Firebug on the browser. Okay, now if I click on inspect element with Firebug, you will be taken directly to that portion of the code which is pointing to that element. For example, if I say password, right, it will take you to a different one. So here is the password, and if I go up, here is the email. See, as I move my mouse over each step of the code, HTML code, you will see this. Okay, now do you see this text very clearly, team? Now you want this entire thing. This is what is pointing to this element here. Okay, what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to put that here first. Let's increase this size also a little bit. So now what happens, team, is that you are seeing the HTML portion of that element, and now we will write a XPath for it. Okay, the first portion was these 2 forward slashes which we have done. The second portion is the HTML tag. The characters that come right after the less than symbol is the HTML tag. Okay, HTML tag has a specific meaning. For example, this is an input field, and that's why it is input. Okay, now if you go, for example, on this like for example here, okay, this is a label field. Okay, and that is why it is a text, just a password. Okay, now if you go onto a button and right click and say probably here inspect element, you will see this is also an input. You are trying to provide an input through it. For example, this right click and say inspect element with Firebug. Where are we? Out here. See, this is a H1, which is the largest heading, and that is the HTML tag for it. So every element has specific HTML tags that you could use. In this case, it is input, the one which comes after the input less than symbol. So I'm going to say input. That is the second portion done. Okay, let's write this first. This then I said HTML tag. Okay, so I'll say HTML hyphen tag. Okay, then this is the construction, the formula, the method in which you write. This is the actual output. Then I have something called as an open square bracket and a close square bracket. You remember the third and fourth thing that I said is an attribute name and a value. What is an attribute name? So if you look at this whole thing, there is input space ID equals email, type equals text, value equals nothing, name equals email, then spell check equals false. Each of what you see on the left side of that equation out here is the name of an attribute. What is an attribute? Attribute gives a specific qualification or clarification to that specific object or element or whatever. Okay, for example, if it's a PC or a laptop that you're buying, okay, you want something with RAM equals 2 GB, okay, with CPU, I don't know what is the latest, but 2.5 gigahertz processor speed. You want memory 200 GB, right? So those are specifications, okay. This RAM, CPU, speed, memory are the attribute names. The ones on the right are the values. Okay. Now, this is the only trickiest part in which you need to pick up very quickly. But look at this video 2-3 times, practice on it 10 times, you'll be a master at it. There's no question about it. Okay. I've done the input. Now the next thing I do is a square bracket and at. Then, so let me put the construction here. We're going to do it for a few things and it will become easy. Attribute name equals attribute value. That is it. This is the construction. Okay. It cannot be any simpler than what you see here. HTML tag, then a square bracket. At is so that to let any debug the tool know that it is the name of an attribute, then equal to, and in single quotes, attribute value. That is it. Now, for example, if I write at, then I say ID. This is the attribute name out here. Equals a value. What is the value I see here? Email. Okay. Email and square brackets. That is it. Now, is this the correct expert? I don't know. This is the process of doing it. But after this comes your trial and error. What do? I copy it, I take it to my IDE, and here is where I want to do a type command, right? I want type command. What is the target? I'm going to say that this is my target. Now, if I see this here on the application, I absolutely want to make sure this is correct. And to do that, I have to click on the find and see if it is able to find this specific target in the application. Now, it says it cannot. What does it mean? Selenium IDE had an issue finding any object or element in this application using this address. So the where part failed. Now, what could it be? I've seen this happen earlier when I go in this construction of word to so and so. Sometimes this single quote is a problem in this case. So I've deleted that and I've typed it again. Why? When I type it from Word, it is getting as a different character because of the fonts and other things, I guess. And that's why. Now I'm going to check again. Now is it able to find? Great. What does it mean? Now it works. Okay. So this is the one that Selenium automatically generated when we did a record. This is the one which we are doing it. Which is better? Anything that works is fine. But what should you do? At least till you get master this, you have to do this process. How? You have to go to that structure. This is the way we do it. This is the how you get to it. And how do we go about? Let's try one more. Okay. But for now, I'm going to delete this step. Okay. Since I've done so far, I'm going to run this and see if it works. I'm always inquisitive. Whenever I do something, I want to see if it's really happening. So it's going to QTP. It is checking for the text. Now it has to type here. What is happening, team? See, your ability is not about just to do what is I've been telling you or what you've been learning. It is also about understanding the core root problem of any issue. Okay. So team, sorry for most of the people who are on the East Coast for this delayed start. It is extremely rare that I have this, but unfortunately this has happened now. Now, what happened? It failed. Where did it fail? Next question. Here. Why? Is it because it cannot find that element? Yeah, probably. But am I sure? No. Why do you take things for granted? Go to the log and see what happened. It says element input ID equals not found. That is strange. I actually thought it has failed because good. This is nice. Now, it is actually saying that element, okay, input ID equals email not found. Here is where you may want to retest it, making it a little more slow. Okay, the whole test. It's going to take some more time from us, but it is worth it. So the first open command happened, type command happened, click and wait, verified text present. Oops, why did this fail? It failed because it was 5010 results there, not 5110. Now, did the type command fail? The type command didn't fail. Okay, I thought it must have failed because there is no value here. I know what to do, I know where to do it, but I need additional information like what to type. So in this case, I said blah blah blah. That is what I wanted to type. But why did it fail here when I did a fast run? Any idea, anyone? So the reason it did is probably, okay, as it went on navigating from page to page, as each of these commands were performed, the application takes certain time to load, right? So we should instruct it, hey, why don't you wait for a few more seconds for the page to load? And that is where probably the difference between this click and wait and this click and wait happened. You see this? I'm guessing this is what it is. Now we're going to experiment with it and see. Okay, click and wait. Good. I'm going to go back, rerun it, but now fast mode in the way it failed earlier. Okay, and I think this changed. So each time we go, there are fewer results coming, I guess. I just made a statement there. Let's see what happens now. Will everything again see 5110? Wow. Verified text present 5010 results. That didn't fail. Did it fail? Yeah, there you go. Thank goodness it failed. But now here is where team, I should be able to go back and look at what was actually there on the application at that time, right? So I should have the ability to take some screenshots somewhere down the line. Okay, day 5. Take screenshots. I'm just putting this so that we know we're going to cover each of these topics. Okay, we will do not day 5 but day 7 or something, whatever. We will also do with cross browser because I want to see that right now it is all good with IE, with Firefox, sorry, but what happens on a Chrome or a IE and so on. All right. So now, was I aware that this is what is going to happen in this application and that's why I'm able to communicate to you? No, but I was aware that each time I do things, team, I'm very confident on one thing about myself, that when there's an issue, I'll try and go in a very structured manner to find out the root cause of it and find a probable solution that will solve it. Try that. If it works, great. Okay. Now, I know we just have about 5-6 minutes, but very important continuation to this expert. Now, we did this for this. Why don't we quickly try and do this for the next password also? How do we do it? What is the process? The process is very simple. Go to the application, right? Go to the field that I want to do it, right click and say inspect element with Firebug. So Firebug will take me to that portion. I'm going to copy this, Control C, and I'm going to put it up here and see what comes out. No, it didn't copy. So I'm going to say copy. Okay, Control C. There is another way. I'll come to you about that. Now, here is another piece of HTML code. Now, what is this referring to? This is referring a different element altogether on the application. Now, how do we go about writing the HTML? Sorry, the XPath. Okay, the first thing, 2 forward slashes, right? Second thing, HTML tag, and that is input, right? Third thing is I write at, and then what is the name of the attribute? Let's try, hey, why don't we try the name out here instead of ID? We tried ID out here, great. I'm going to try name, and I want you to try the email itself with different attributes and see what comes out. In this case, at ID, no, at name equals password. Okay, now what did I do? I have put the XPath. What is the next step we do? I take it and I test it. Why? I could be going wrong in so many ways, and I know that I must have made a mistake. Anyone can, I may still be. And then I'm going to say find, and it says located not found. That means there's probably something wrong with it. Now, what would you do in this case? The first thing you need to do is make sure one thing, that you follow the standard protocol. Don't jump when you are learning, go slow, but with a thing of trying to learn everything slowly. Make a lot of mistakes, That's how we're going to learn. Okay. Now, the first thing if you see is I missed this opening square brackets, right? So that's an error. Now, the second thing, instead of even before going there, you have to make sure that there is this quotes. Okay. Now, so what I'll do is I will go here, make sure the construction is right, the formula is right, at name equals single quotes password and single quotes this. Now I'm going to click on find. There you go. So now we find it. What do I want to do? I found the target or the locator or the XPath to identify it. Now I can put this as type. Okay, so we're going to do type on this. What do I want to type? Anything. I am not interested to see actually what I want to type. Okay, I'm just seeing, testing out some things here, right? What is the next step we want to do? Sign it. Right click, inspect element with Firebug, and I get this entire thing. See, it is so interesting to be just going about doing everything. It is one of the few things in life which, if you give the right instructions, will listen to you. Okay, you are the master, and Selenium will become your slave if you know how to give instructions to it. Now let's try this. Probably we're getting faster at it. So the forward slashes at least came by default very quickly. The HTML tag is input. Now, shall I say the type equals submit? Let's see. Square brackets at type equals submit. Why am I not using single quotes? Because there anyway I've changed it in Selenium IDE. So another command. This is the attribute. What is the command will do? We'll say click. We'll say type or click, right? We have to do click because now we want to click. And hopefully we may do click and wait because it may take me somewhere else. Now I do find, I have an issue. Is it because the browser was not in front? Was it because the browser was minimized that it couldn't find? Not necessarily, right? So that is not important. What is important for me right now is bring this up and see. So I have to put my single quotes. See, now what are we doing? We are expanding to write our own commands in IDE, right? Which is a very, very important step. Now I say find. Did it find? Hold on, what happened? There you go, it's finding it. It's doing a quick blink on it and stopping. Now we have done justice to what we wanted to do. Okay, so this I'm going to save test case as a different one. YT search underscore sign in. What do I mean? I'm searching it, and I'm signing in as well. Now, if you see that this is good, I mean, it's not that it is. Do I need to do a fast run or slow run? Depends on what I want to see while the test is happening. Okay. If your application is taking certain time, then we are better off putting some information out here itself instead of there. Email, password, sign in. So now what happened, team? Did my test fail? Yes. Did it fail out here? Yes. So I'm going to say, let's say, I'm going to say 5110. Team, couple of more minutes, and then I'll take quick questions, then we'll move on. So I'm going to do a run again. So the results, I corrected it. Now, team, very, very important question. This is where automation testing comes into it. Okay, those two important words I was talking about. Did my test fail? Yes or no? Did my test fail? Yes or no? Okay, here's my application. Did my test fail? Yes or no? Okay, I kept asking the question till I got at least one yes, because most of you said the test didn't fail, right? This is my test. Okay, this is my test. I asked the test to do this. It exactly did this. It didn't sign in. I don't care, and that is what testing is all about. Okay, you are supposed to put your brain into creating tests, not while executing it. Okay, while executing it, let it do it as it is. You have to have specific things to do it. For example, if I want to verify that this text is there or not, then I put another command for it. Okay, put that as part of your test. When you do an execution, you are reporting exactly what you find it. And the more organized and documented we are, and the more clear our test cases are, the easier and the better our overall testing happens. Okay, so when we are automating, remember what you give is what should happen, and that is what you need to focus on. Okay, now I want you to do a few more things. So we did XPath, which is good. I think it's a good coverage of XPath. Now, what does it mean? I want you to go about and practicing it. I want you to do a couple of things, team. We have done about 3 test cases here. I want you to go about doing a couple of more test cases. Could be similar, could be different, doesn't matter. Just play around. And I'll put this Excel also into screencast and send it to all the participants into it. So you can pick it up and start to do it in there. Okay. Do your IDE, do your tests, and put it in there. Now, what I wanted to show you is how I take this into an Eclipse JUnit in Java. It is all about, this is my test case, right? So you go to options, format, Java JUnit WebDriver. Okay. Now, what is the difference between WebDriver and RC and all that? We'll come to it. But I want to take this whole test. Here is my ready to use. You know what, I'm gonna not do this. I'm gonna save this into our folder and Selenium, and I'm gonna call this as XPath. Okay, so that's also there for you. Now into a new Word document, I'm going to put this code. So this is the Java code. Like HTML code, this is a different programming language. Okay, it is all about the tests that we have in IDE this way are being executed with IDE and Firefox combination. Okay, when I take the tests, it is I get to a very different level of execution using this code. All I have to do is take this code and run it. Run this Java code. How do I run a Java code? I need Java runtime environment, number 1. Okay. The second thing I need is a platform where I can use to put this code in and say run it, or chain this code and be able to execute it. And that is what Eclipse does for us. Okay. Eclipse, like IDE is to browser, in this way, okay, where we have a HTML code, HTML view of this steps. We have the similar thing with Java. Eclipse will hold your Java code in it, where you can easily maintain it, and when you run it through Eclipse IDE instead of Selenium IDE, it will become Eclipse IDE for us. It will also run it on this browser, so you can also decide which browser to run and so on with it. Okay, that will be what we will get to. Once we get there, team, it is programming. Okay, so again, like we are doing here, we will go in a very structured manner. If we go about trying to learn Java and then JUnit and so on, it is forever. There is no limit to it. We will learn what is needed to get you mastering this language. All right, team, I know it's already 8:05. Any questions that I can address, please? Day 3, team, as I told you, there's a schedule. I will be, this training will no longer work, link will not work. I will have to send the revised ones. The team will send it to you later for all the confirmed participants. Okay. I know, team, there are limited seats because this time I've given little gaps. There's so many participants, so please try and get yourself there. Okay. The video, I'll put it on YouTube right after. Okay. Day 3, we will have it on the 27th. Okay, 27, 28, 29, 30. We will continue those 4 days. Before that, I want you to watch a lot of videos. Okay, 31st and 3rd for sure we will have an off because of the long weekend, and then we'll start again from 4th, and we'll try and complete everything before 21st. That is 1 month from now. Okay. Does Firebug works with IE? No, this IDE and Firebug are inbuilt to Firefox. For IE, we have like Fiddler and other tools, but the process in which we are going is more than enough for us. Which are the videos we need to watch before day 3? So I will have that. So when you signed up, I've mentioned this in the beginning of the video. I will also have it sent to you soon. It's there, so I've shown it in screencast, right? Just go to screencast.com, watch those recorded topics. For all the confirmed participants, you have access to that folder. Now, what would be the time for those classes? Yes, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. I don't have access to all the videos. Seema, anyone, team, Edward, if you don't have access to the videos, please send an email. Assuming that you're all paid registrants and so on, you will get your access to it. Okay. Next class, I just mentioned that we will do it next Monday, but I will communicate the details to you. All right. So team, thank you so much for joining. I know there are a few more questions. So please do a favor to me. When I start day 3, I'll take up your questions to begin the session with. I want you to be able to go back, practice, play around a lot, come back with more questions. We'll start day 3 with questions. Then we'll go more structured, more deeper into the whole thing. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Appreciate it. We'll see you back in day 3 time. Take care, everyone. Bye now. Thanks, everyone. Bye.